This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
It's 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by Sounditavam. The National War Heroes Commemoration Ceremony will be held at the Battaramulla War Heroes Memorial on the 19th of this month. Parliament will meet from today. The debate on the Express Pearl vessel commences tomorrow. The evaluation of 12 subjects of the GCE Advanced Level Examinations has already commenced. The 25th session of the EU-Sri Lanka Joint Commission will commence today. A new set of instructions issued to control dengue in the Western Province schools. Foreign news, tens of thousands of Serbs joined protests in Belgrade against gun violence. And in sports cricket, the Sri Lanka emerging team will play 5 T20 games against the Japan national cricket team. Arrangements have been made to hold the National War Heroes Commemoration Ceremony at the Battaramulla War Heroes Memorial on the 19th of this month under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. It will be held with pride to honour the nation's war heroes who died in the 30 Years' War in Sri Lanka. The President's Media Division said a preliminary discussion was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday under the chairmanship of Sagala Ratnayaka, the President's senior advisor on national security and the Chief of the Presidential Staff. Former Presidents, Prime Ministers, Deputy Ministers, the Speaker, the Secretary of the Ministry of Defence, Chiefs of Defence as well as Commanders of the 3 armed forces, including the Inspector General of Police and the war heroes who were injured in the war, the relatives of the fallen war heroes, as well as school cadet groups, will participate in this war hero commemoration ceremony. Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne said that this war hero celebration has been organised this year with a special war drum beat and floral tributes to appreciate the bravery, heroism and eternal memories of the war heroes of the 3 armed forces, police and the Civil Defence Department, who laid down their lives to secure the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country. Parliament will meet from today to the 12th of May. The General Secretary of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayake, says that an hour from 9:30 am to 10:30 am has been allocated for oral questions today. Parliament Business Committee has decided to hold the adjournment debate on the MV Express Pearl disaster tomorrow and the debate on the second reading of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka Bill on Thursday. The Aswasuma new benefit payment scheme will be taken up for debate on Friday. The Commissioner General of Examinations, Amit Jayasundara, says that the evaluation of 12 subjects of the 2022-2023 GCE Advanced Level Examinations has already commenced. Further, he also emphasized that steps are being taken to complete the evaluation of the rest of the subjects as well. He requests all relevant parties, including university and school teachers, to expedite the evaluation process and release the results without delay. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
The 25th session of the Joint Commission between Sri Lanka and the European Union will be convened today at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Colombo. The meeting will be co-chaired by the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, Aruni Vijayawardena, and the Deputy Managing Director for Asia and the Pacific of the European External Action Service of the EU, Paolo Pampaloni. The Joint Commission will deliberate on a broad range of bilateral and multilateral issues of mutual interest to both sides and discuss areas of future cooperation. The outcome of the 3 working groups established under the Joint Commission, namely the Working Group on Governance, Rule of Law and Human Rights, the Working Group on Trade and Economic Cooperation, and the Working Group on Development Cooperation will also be discussed in detail during the meeting. The European Union delegation will brief on the new cycle of the EU GSP regulation to be adopted for 2024 to 2033, which will be reflective from the 1st of January 2024 for the next 10 years. The previous session of the Joint Commission meeting was held in February last year in Brussels. A search operation conducted by the Sri Lanka Navy in the South Beach area of Mandetivu Island, Jaffna, yesterday has led to the recovery of over 85 kilograms of Kerala cannabis. During a search operation carried out by the SLBC Velisomana in the Northern Naval Command, 3 sacks of Kerala cannabis was made from the shrubs nearby South Beach area of Mandetivu Island. The sacks contain 22 packages stuffed with Kerala cannabis weighing about 85 kilos and 450 grams, which is taken into naval custody, the SLN Media Unit said. And with that we conclude local news.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Lanka Coal Company says that 30 ships of coal have already been brought to the country as requested by the Ceylon Electricity Board in writing. Shehan Sumanasekara, the chairman and managing director of the Lanka Coal Company, says that the unloading of coal from the 28th to the 29th ships are currently being carried out. He expects the unloading of the 30th ship to be completed in about a week. He also said since the country's coal requirement has been met, the program to bring coal will be started again in September. He said that out of the 30 coal ships brought to Sri Lanka, only 22 ships have been fully paid and the remaining 8 ships have been acquired on credit basis and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. With the increased risk of dengue spreading in the Western Province, the education authorities have focused on taking necessary measures to prevent the spread of the mosquito-borne disease in school premises in the province. The Western Provincial Education Director Srilal Nonis says that a series of new instructions will be issued for the principals in the coming week to make the school premises a safe place free from the risk of dengue. He further said that the principals have been instructed to clean the school premises by involving the school staff, students and the parents as per the need. Meanwhile, the health authorities advised the public to consult a government medical officer in case of fever lasting for over 2 days and came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news making headlines. Tens of thousands of Serbs joined protests in Belgrade against gun violence. The EU cancels Israel event over far-right ministers' plan to attend. Bolivian General Gary Prado Salmon, who captured revolutionary Che Guevara, dies. And on to the details of the world news. Tens of thousands of Serbs have joined protests against gun violence in the capital Belgrade and another city after 2 mass shootings last week. 17 people died in the shootings on Wednesday and Thursday, including 8 children in a primary school. The protesters called for the resignation of top government officials and want newspapers and TV stations they say promote violence shut down. Serbia's president condemned the protests. The EU has cancelled its diplomatic event for Europe Day in Israel because of the planned participation of the far-right minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. Organisers said they did not want to offer a platform to someone whose views contradicted its values. As the Israeli government's designated representative, Mr. Ben had insisted he would give the customary speech at a ceremony on Tuesday. In response to the decision, he accused the EU of undiplomatic gagging. The Bolivian general who captured the Cuban revolutionary Ernesto Che Guevara has become a national hero and died at the age of 84. In 1967, Gary Prado Salmon led a military operation in Bolivia, backed by the U.S. Secret Service agents, that defeated a communist insurrection organized by Che. At the time, Bolivia had a far-right-wing military government. An army officer executed Argentina-born Guevara a day after his arrest. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news, and we take a look at development news next.
Development news.
The Emirates has pledged its renewed support to promoting tourism in Sri Lanka through a Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau. The agreement outlines a host of initiatives designed to promote the nation's tourism and trade industries and comes as part of the airline's long-standing commitment to Sri Lanka, spanning 37 years, and came to you in development news. And on to sports. The Sri Lanka cricket selectors have selected a 15-member emerging squad to take part in the tour to Japan. During the tour, the Sri Lanka emerging team will play 5 T20 games against the Japan national cricket team, which is an associate member of the ICC. The Sri Lanka emerging team left for Japan last evening. The first T20 match against Japan will be played tomorrow, and that came to you in sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka and Bangladesh plan to hold an introductory meeting virtually on the 29th of this month to commence negotiations for the proposed Preferential Trade Agreement PTA, which is expected to eventually lead to a free trade agreement. The two parties are expected to finalize dates and the venue to hold negotiations on the proposed PTA during this virtual meeting. The two countries are planning to commence negotiations for the proposed PTA with plans to expand it to a free trade agreement eventually, and came to you in business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall Gold Award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has made available its technical assistance in restructuring Sri Lanka's energy sector and developing a roadmap for reforming the state-run Ceylon Electricity Board. Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara tweeted Monday afternoon that he met a USAID delegation along with Arindam Ghosh, the consultant assigned to reform the project that will take place over the next 8 weeks, and came to you in economic news.
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall Gold Award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LONC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that showers of thundershows will occur at times in the western, Sabrugama, central, northwestern and southern provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern province. Showers of thundershows will occur at several places elsewhere over the island, particularly during the afternoon or night. Strong winds, about 40 to 55 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times over the western and southern coastal areas and along the western slopes of the central hills. And to conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The National War Heroes Commemoration Ceremony will be held at the Batramulla War Heroes Memorial on the 19th of this month. Parliament will meet from today. The debate on the Express Pearl vessel commences tomorrow. The evaluation of 12 subjects of the GC Advanced Level Examinations has already commenced. The 25th session of the EU-Sri Lanka Joint Commission will commence today. A new set of instructions issued to control dengue in the Western Province schools. Tens of thousands of Serbs joined protests in Belgrade against gun violence. In cricket, the Sri Lanka emerging team will play 5 T20 games against the Japan national cricket team. And that concludes this morning's news broadcast.